Welcome to the Consciously Connected podcast.
We're so excited to have you on this episode where we're going to dive into queen and king energy and
Ooh.
how you can have a powerful relationship by having two powerful individuals within the relationship. And sometimes this can look a little different than you may think. There's so much out here around becoming a power couple. And you can
Mhm.
even think about that yourself. And maybe you have a vision of that. Maybe you have a certain like way that you think that would look. Maybe you feel like you're in one, but we're going to bring forth some new ideas, some ways of being that create actual power in polarity and prosperity in life, love, and biz. And so we're going to dive into this from a little bit different angle. Whereas oftentimes you hear power couple, you may have a certain way that you think about that. We're going to look at it a little bit differently. And let's dive in.
Absolutely. And I think this is a highly controversial and discussed topic. What is a power couple? What makes a powerful relationship? A lot of times roles get thrown into there, all kind of stuff. And it's like, it's super interesting how all these little intricacies and these nuances really just pull the power couple apart. And it's like, and the way we're going to formulate this and talk about this is like, how do we bring two powerful people together that create a power couple instead of how do we make the relationship powerful, which is it's a different scenario altogether.
Yeah, and I think, there is like a common thread of like when you think about a power couple, you think
Hmm.
about two people who are extremely financially, materialistically, and in business or purpose and career are successful, for whatever that may look like. And also, it could be the viewpoint of you have two individuals that are solid, that are confident, that are moving and navigating their life in what appears to be success
Hmm.
individually, and then they're doing even some things together. I think another viewpoint of it looks like, okay, you have these two people who are presenting themselves both as power, and together they create an aura when they step into a room of like, okay, these people are like the shit, or they are like coming in hot, or like I aspire to be like them, or whatever it may be. And
Yeah.
we've gotten called this so many times, and we've
Yes.
really had a lot of conversations within our own selves of like, one, what gives off that energy? What do people see when they like say that, oh my god, you are such a power couple? It's like, okay, and then what's the reality of us in our power, and what's the reality of what creates a power couple from our perspective? And it's very nuanced, and there could be multiple things,
Yeah.
but how we've kind of come into the energy of that, I think is a little bit different than, some of the first things that I talked about of what it
Yeah.
what
And I think it's interesting. Like that first one you said is like, what does a power couple look like? And I think that's what society's views power couple as monetary, materialistic possessions, like your
Mhm.
Instagram reel, like your Instagram profile. Man, if it looks good and pretty, you're a power couple. You drive this car, you go on this trip, you have this house, power couple. And I think, like, okay, on some levels, that could make sense if they didn't rent the house, rent the car, and put the vacation on credit. It might make sense, right? But I think there's a level where we've kind of gotten to is like, what does a power couple feel like when you're in their presence? Like, that's a different level of like that aura, that energy, that embodiment, that being, that confidence of who they are as individuals and how much power they possess together when they come together. And I think the latter for us has been something we poured a lot of thought into because, you know, all these other like these materialistic views, they look good, but they don't actually give a full frame of reference of what power they possess other than making money or buying things. And it's how does your power within you and within your partner come together that creates an energetic connection of like they have their shit together. They are fucking undeniable in a relationship and undeniable as individuals.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes we even have a distorted view, one in of ourselves, first and foremost. Um,
Yes.
but we have a distorted view of what power actually feels like or what power
Yeah.
actually is. Because I think the overall is like we can have a lot of women in quote unquote their power, and that actually sometimes means that they're way far in their masculine energy, that they're way far even in their wounded masculine energy. And they've built up this energy or aura of, I am powerful because I am a hustler. I am powerful because I am a badass boss bitch. I am powerful because I have my shit together and I'm type A and I'm, whatever. I am powerful because I, like, own the space in the room. And it's like, yes and no, right? And
I like that. I
also,
like
it's
that. And I like that. And right there. And no.
and it, like, even a man, like the
Yeah.
I am powerful because I provide. I am powerful because I've built, this success. I'm powerful because I feel like manly in the sense of like even leaning towards toxic masculinity. Like I'm powerful
Yeah.
because I pull a lot of for
Yeah. A
lack of
lot of
better
pee.
words, I pull a lot of pee, you know?
Yep.
So, like, there's these different auras of what actual power means. And, like, even the viewpoint of what you view power. So, if you're listening to this, I want you to stop and just like literally land into what does being powerful look like and what does being powerful feel like to you? And
Yes.
sometimes this is really hard to get honest with ourselves about that because you know, for a long time, I saw myself as this confident woman. I led myself powerfully. I was building, multi six figure business. I was crushing it over here and doing this over there. And I had multiple tabs open and I was like in my power. I was confident. I was running things. And also, like, there was parts of me that I had built this identity around those things, and I had a protective wall. I had just enough closeness of emotional intimacy. I had just enough vulnerability. I had just enough, like, me being in my feminine energy, because in a lot of ways, me being in my true feminine energy actually felt like weakness to me. There was many spaces where I was disconnected from my emotional body. I was disconnected from my true intuition. I was way more logic based. I was way more driven in my power by consciousness. And so when we really dive into that, I could say, like, that version of me, I could have viewed myself as powerful, and I did, and you
Hmm.
did, and we, like, even, like, said that, like, "Okay, I'm a powerful woman," or "I feel in my power."
Yeah.
And in our relationship, and even in parts of my business, I actually was very disempowered in how I was moving and operating.
Yeah. And like that's so very true because I remember calling you a powerful woman, and I remember you holding that frame of being powerful, and I also remember you telling me like to be anything other than this makes me feel weak. I remember that makes me feel not safe, and the reality was is like yeah, you had done all these things, but who you were being might not have been powerful because the
Yeah, because I
doing
was
this
like,
looks powerful, you know.
yeah, it was like I felt very, like, independent, like, "I got this."
Yeah.
I felt very confident and trustworthy of my own self. I felt
Yeah.
like I can come into a space and I can see exactly what needs to move, and I know that I'm right, and it's like, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
and like I could see things and I was very conscious and I had done a lot of personal growth and development work and I had a lot of language for things. I could see things and I can move very powerfully in those ways.
Yes.
And and there was so much that was going on unconsciously and in the shadows and in the threads energetically within our own relationship, within the dynamics of our relationship, within then bled into money and business and all the things, my body and my health. It bled out where then it was like wait a minute. Like, is this actual power? Is this
Yeah.
actually the energy of true polarity in a relationship?
Yeah.
And I saw you in your power, but also treated you like you weren't powerful to a
Yeah.
degree for multiple reasons, of course. But,
Oh, obviously.
it's like, but in your own right, you did feel powerful. Like you felt in your power in certain ways in certain spaces, like in your teaching career and then in your sales career when you were like top salesman of the year and you were bringing home xyz money and you were running these patterns in your
Yeah.
life where it's like, I'm a powerful man, or I am in
Yes.
power in myself, and you had confidence.
Yeah, and
um
everybody telling me, "Man, you're so powerful."
yeah,
But when I came home, it all went out the window
yeah,
because the action can't outweigh the beingness. It's the same way with you. It's like your action in the world, you were powerful as shit. The action in the world, I was powerful as shit. Like there is no doubt that I know something about us and highly power couples is like if you give them the opportunity, they will go make shit happen in the world every day. They can over leverage that skill set to the nth degree and show you what power looks like. But they cannot leverage the part of them that allows you to feel how much power they have within them because they've equated their worth to what they do and create in the world versus who they're being as they do and create.
yeah. It's like building an identity that's outward facing of power,
Yes.
while on the inside and on the unconscious side and the subconscious side there's actually a lot of feeling disempowered.
Hmm.
um Therefore the building of an identity to feel powerful is what was needed for the ego self, is what was
Absolutely.
needed for them to feel a certain way.
Absolutely.
And we both
And
did that.
yeah, and too, like doing that and living in that capacity, it's like you're creating this image that portrays power to the world. Hey, look, me, I'm powerful. And then when I get into a deeply connected relationship like we share, that facade melts pretty fast because in a relationship, and this is where I talk to a lot of men, and I know you talk to women, it's like, it's one thing to provide out in the world and bring that home. But in order to function highly in the relationship, you got to be something other than a doer. You got to be like that power has to come from within. It can't be, well, I'm going to show you how powerful I am by making you do all these things. That's not love and relating. And that's not power. That's control. That's authoritarianism. That's like not a dictatorship almost. And you see a lot of relationships where this either the woman or the man takes on this role where they are the controller of the dynamic. And that's not how we view power. And when we first started off, I think that's how we view power in our relationship. Like, if I tell him what to do and how to do it and how to show up and be, then I'm going to feel safe and I have control over the dynamic. And me, it was like, if I could just get her to do this for me, then I would feel powerful. And so it was like this level of trying to actualize your image of power onto a relationship and it never worked out. We about broke ourselves doing it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're chasing one thing. Like the woman is chasing safety in
Hmm.
that. And so it's like, if I can get him to show up in this way, or I can move him this way, or he can do this and he can act like this, then I'm going to feel safe to then lean in to my feminine, or then I'll feel safe to then be vulnerable or be open hearted
Yes.
completely, or, melt down the armor, or melt down the facade of I'm a powerful bitch, but
Yeah.
it's like, also, and then on the other side for the man, it's like, I will feel powerful when I'm desired, when I'm respected, when I can get her to open herself emotionally, physically, when I can get her to, see me as the man and the masculine in this
Hmm.
relationship, when I can get her to trust me, then I will feel powerful. And so it's like that you have these two wounds essentially are shadows essentially that are fighting each other, but they're a perfect match for each other.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, a woman who doesn't feel safe then has a reciprocal of a man who's trying to be trusted. You have a
Mhm.
woman that doesn't feel like she could be open with a man due to not trusting, due to like him and his movement of not authenticity or not in his integrity or not whatever it may be. It's like, okay, then I move and I'm not open, I'm closed until you crack me open. And then the reciprocal of that is I just want her to be open so that I can have like I can like swoon her. I can physically
Yeah.
open her. I can pursue intimacy with her. I can, there's these back and forth, but the mirror is like both of you desiring to be in your power truly, but ultimately, you're both in your power through trying to get the other person to be something.
Mhm. And I wanna really, point out and emphasize one word you kept saying. That you probably said it 8 times in that little frame right there, and I know I've said it probably 10 times already. There's 2 G words that represent this. Like, when you are operating in a forward-facing power that you want the world to see you powerful as, the word that comes to mind is get. I'm trying to get people to do things. I'm trying to get people to see me as something. I'm trying to get. And when somebody takes power within, they're trying to give that out. And it's like, because in the relationship, your relationship is as good as you give to it. It's not as good as you get from it, because then the relationship is very limited and transactional. And when we're in our wounded versions, we're always trying to get unwounded, is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the feeling of not feeling wounded or not feeling like we're not enough or not good enough or not safe or whatever it is. And so when we started to really build our own idea of what power couples were, the first part of it was like, we got to get rid of this get thing, because like I need to get him to be more this and I need to get her to be more of that. That's manipulation at its finest. Subconsciously, you're doing things and saying things and moving in certain ways to get something out of the other person. And in that, you create a very limited scope of what the dynamic can be between you two. And you really create a limited scope of what you could actually share, because you only want certain things. You don't want the full picture. You just, I need her to give me this. I need her to give me that. I need her to give me this. And like for guys, it's like, I need her to I need to get sex. I need to get, I need to get some respect, and I need to get nurturing from her. I got it. Like whatever I got to do to get that, I'm okay. That's not real. Like you've pigeonholed your wife down to a bedmate and somebody who serves your little fucking boy ego. And that doesn't really create a big dynamic of love. So when we started to really formulate this idea, we were more like, all right, who do we have to become so that we can give what we want to this relationship?
Yeah, and I always kind of coin it and talk about it from the place of like being a lighthouse versus a boat navigator.
Yeah.
And I always talk to my women in my groups and in my coaching of like we're going to be lighthouse leaders in our life and in of ourselves, because when you go to try and be a boat navigator to get someone else to do something, to be something, to guide their ship, to move them in a way, to direct them so that then you can shine your light, so that then
Yeah.
you can fuel your energy, so that then you can open and be a
Mm.
source of power. Like then you are being a boat navigator and you're out here
Mhm.
fighting waves, you're out here spinning around, you're out here doing the things trying to get the boat to the light so that then you can be the light. And that's not how it works ultimately. Like you
Mm.
have to, in your own individuality, the power is in the lighthouse. The power is
Yes.
when you are open, shining, when you're in your greatest source of fuel and energy, and you're standing alone and not in the sense of like, I don't need the boat. I don't need the person driving the boat. Like the whole point of the lighthouse is to bring the boats to you, is to have a magnet radiance where you're drawing aligned people to you, and people are magnetized and desired of your light and they see the truth of you versus like I need to be out here directing all the ships. And this could be obviously your partner, but we do this with like a lot of people in your world when you're operating
Yeah.
from this identity. It's not just partner, it's you're doing this to your friends, to your clients, to your business partners, to your employees, to your whoever. And it's
And your
like,
kids.
yeah, 100%. And so it's like this energy of like, I am going to be a lighthouse and I'm going to look at my own ship and I'm going to look at my own space. I'm not out here trying to navigate all the ships. Like that's exhausting. Like there's no way you can energetically do that and have everybody be a source of magnetizing to you. You would
Mm,
have no energy or no space. And ultimately I see a lot of women who are leaking power in their relationship or leaking power in their spaces of circle of influence because they're doing this and they're getting burnt out, or they're doing this and they're expending all their energy trying to get something outside of themselves so they can then be something. And it's like that's not ultimately what's going to be, that's not in your power. That's very disempowering, that's very disengaging
yeah,
of your energy source. It's like, let's be who we desire to be, and then we are an energetic match for it. Then we get to lean back in our feminine. Then we get to be powerful, but draw people to truth. Then we get to be open and attract all the love that we ultimately know that we're meant for because we are love.
absolutely. You like I want to talk about that thing you just said, the be the purveyor of truth, right? I get a lot, and I know you do too, but I know I hit it a lot. I hear it a lot, like the roles of men and women within a relational dynamic, or the spirit, the religious uh, misrepresentation of marriage or relational dynamics, where woman is to be a submissive person to the masculine. And I I can go and reference 1,000 verses in every religious text because I love I'm a very spiritual person, and I know I'm not a big religious person. I'm very spiritual, and but the one thing that I've known, and now that we've walked our way into this through thought and talk and actual deliberate intention, is that each person in that relationship deserves a spot at the top together. Because in the religious text in the Bible, just give an example, like w- there is no place in the Bible where it says the woman is to walk behind a man, or the woman is supposed to be below the man, or it, the idea that the woman was born out of the side of the man tells you where she's supposed to stand with him in power, and with him in truth, with him in knowledge, with him in leadership. And also in the Bible, it talks a lot about like it is a man's job to trust the wisdom, knowledge, and truth of the feminine, the woman in your life. Because for some reason, men don't understand this. Like men are always judged on the truth, but women are the purveyor of truth. Because women live in a moment by moment basis, men live in a forward projection of where they're going. And because of that, the truth is not always easily accessible to men because we're looking so far into the future about where we're going that we almost turn a blind eye to what's kind of currently moving in our life because we're so focused on getting there.
Well, and I think it's the same with like when we think about polarity and like the idea of polarity is like, okay, the masculine's meant to lead and the feminine's meant to follow, and that's not actually the truth. It's
No,
the masculine is supposed to be in their leadership from their masculine essence, and the feminine is meant to be in her leadership from her feminine essence, and those are actually mutually powerful in their own right and own gifts. And yes, like masculine leadership and feminine, there I the word that's often used is submission, but it's like that's not even that's not even, that doesn't portray ultimately even what polarity is, and how the power of a woman in her feminine energy isn't like, I'm a follower, or I submit to you, or I'm submissive in nature, or that, it's none of that. It's ultimately like the being in the queen energy, being in her leadership energy, being in the space where she is so solid and awakened and into her intuition and in her flow and her creativity. And she's able to be that and fuel her king and fuel the
Yes.
masculine energy to be able to then, like you're saying, be the space of truth, be the
Mhm.
leader of intuitive knowing of life and all these things. But if we're moving from this space where the idea is man leads, woman follows, man in his power, woman in her submission, like that's
Yeah,
not the
but,
way that
like,
this is portrayed, is not real.
submit, like, the word itself means it means to present some no, it means to yield to the authority or control of another person. I don't wanna be in a marriage like that. Like, I don't want you like, I don't want you to yield to my authority and my control. Like, I love you. I don't wanna tell you what to do with life. Like, I have no interest. I have enough effort every day to move myself in life to the places I need to go. I think it's more of an acknowledgement of what each person brings to the place. And like I know for the masculine, and we go back and forth because we all of us have that masculine and feminine within us, and it flows in moments, and we dance it back and forth. But like if I'm in my masculine as the man, then I'm in leadership of where we're going, how we're going to get there. I'm in leadership of keeping everything at grounded zero. I'm in leadership of those things. The feminine is in leadership of wisdom. Like, hey, you may be going there, but did you see the river without a bridge? How are you going to
Yes.
get over that?
Yeah.
Well, I want to go there. Yeah, but there's a river without a bridge. So how are we going to get there? And you're like, okay, I need to take that into acknowledgement and consideration while I make my journey to that place. And it's that allowance because, and I know lots of powerful men who their greatest confidant is their wife. And it's for one reason, is because their wife knows them better than anybody on the planet. You know me. Like he's like, I know you better, you know yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Number 2, it's I trust your view of the truth of what's currently happening and what's currently available to us more than I trust my own view sometimes. And because of that, I can turn to you and say, because I know I do this all the time. I'm like, hey, I got this big idea. I want to go do this, this, and this. You're like, okay, let's talk about that. You're like, well, if you want to get there, we got to do this. And I'm like, oh, I would have never even thought about that. I was just going to try to get there. And so
And
then we're like,
I think the difference too is like oftentimes this gets misconstrued because it's like there's a totally different energy. And when you're a woman in your wounded masculine energy versus you're in a woman in her powered, awakened feminine energy, right? So it's like,
yes,
and these can be similar situation, different presenting energy and how it's done. So it's
yes,
like, you come to me, or even if you don't come to me, because there's often times where I will see things and see truths or see ways that are going, and it's not from an energy of, I'm questioning your ability. I'm questioning my trust in you. I'm questioning your capabilities. I'm questioning you. It's not that energy. It's an energy of, I believe in you and I got your back. And look at this and see this and like bring forth this, because
yes,
it's like we always talk about it, and this is why our spaces are called the conscious kings and the conscious queen spaces, because you have a king who's the ruler of the community and like making decisions and leading the people and doing the things, but it's like he comes home. And I know you said something one time about the the awakened feminine being the crown of the king or something like
yeah.
along those lines, where
Being a
it's
crown
like,
of the husband. Yep.
yeah, and it's like, because he can come to her, and that's his safe space to land, is his safe space to gain insights. He can come to her because he trusts her power. He trusts her
Mhm.
insight. He trusts her and he can land there. And it's a space that he can melt into and be powerful. It doesn't mean that it's a space where he gets judged or criticized or cut down or questioned or coming from an energy of, I don't trust you because I need to feel empowered in my own
Yes.
space because I'm right and you're wrong. It's like,
Mhm.
there's a totally different energy of how we present things as a powerful woman to our man when we see things, when we can call out things. I mean, there's been so many times where, and before it was obviously very much the opposite, where I was very like judgment and criticism, but it wasn't like my heart really wanted to be that. It was more so like, I don't trust the masculine. I don't trust you. And then
Yeah.
there was all, and like part of that, we can always find something, ladies, that you will not trust your masculine man on. You can always find something that they are not enough of, that they're not conscious of, that they're not leading themselves in. Like you will always find something. One, because your man's not like perfect, and he's not
I
completely in his,
am. What you talking about, girl? Shoot.
no, no, but far from it. And we both are. But it's like this space where it's like you expect there to be perfection. And then when there's not, it's like there's this energy. And that says more about your wounds. It says more about your shadows that are running than anything when you show up and respond from the place of, I'm armored up, I'm protected,
Mhm.
I'm judgment and criticizing of you because you're not being a man and you're not doing this and you're not trustworthy and you're not integrity with your word and all these things that you could point out. And although some of those and a lot of those may be true to a degree, it's like also, where are we looking at how we are reciprocal to that? Where are we looking at how it's a mirror to who we're being in our own self, in our own
Yes.
identity, in our own feminine essence, in our own space? And you can always say, oh, well, I can't be in my feminine because he's not in his masculine. And I have to go into my masculine because he's not this. And that is serving something within you. That is
Yes.
serving something that's a shadow that's running within your own self, that you feel more empowered in your masculine energy, that you've built up lack of trust in your feminine energy, that you are not being a lighthouse in your life and yourself. And
Mhm.
there's a space to empower a king. There's a space to awaken a conscious man. And that is ultimately our role as conscious queens, is to do that from a place of wholeness, from power, from light, from love, not from a space of judgment, criticism, put down, you're a piece of shit, you can't do anything. I'm going to take
Yeah.
control. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to be right. And I'm going to be in my ego. Like,
Yeah.
those things don't work.
That energy that you just mentioned is manager energy, and we hear that a lot. Like, I'm managing my partner, like I'm just managing his day to day, and I'm managing this and I'm managing that. Like, won't you be a leader? Leader goes first. I lead myself first, and that reference you said in the beginning was like an excellent wife is the crown of her husband. Right, and that's in the Bible, Proverbs, I think somewhere, but it's like a wise wife strengthens, sharpens, and elevates her husband because a husband only becomes a king when his wife crowns him, right? Not when the world crowns him, it's when his wife crowns him. And the only way
Yeah.
his wife crowns him is like his wife is powerful enough to hold him to the truth, and and the husband is powerful enough to allow the truth to come into him. And in that back and forth, it's the ability, and this is so important that I know me and you, we talk about this a lot, like the accountability part of a great relationship. A power couple is like, you have the power within you at any moment to come to me and say, hey, things are out of alignment. And I'm seeing these things. And I'm not like, I just want to know what's going on and if we need to readjust our standards or what. Like, you're not ever like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, hey, I'm just noticing some stuff. And that's for a woman bringing to a man, but it's equally as important in order to have a wise woman in your life. you have to hold her accountable to her flaws too. Because if the flaws go left unattended, the wisdom of her shrinks and her ability to crown you goes away.
And I don't even
Eh,
love the word flaws, you know? It's
yeah,
like
or yeah, but I'm just yeah, general term. But it's like we have these places in us where we all need some outside purview as to like, hey, you're operating out of alignment from what you say you want to be. And if we leave them unattended in each other, the power of the person falls down. And when the power of the person falls down, the power of the relationship collapses.
yeah, and I think the reciprocal of that is if we obviously then point the I don't know, like point the finger, point the attention to the masculine, it's like oftentimes it's even how you perceive through your own filters of your own brain what you're perceiving the truth that's coming to you because a woman will bring her heart and truth to you, but the second that you get triggered, the second that you put up walls against, the second that you go into your own wounded spaces of not feeling like a man or not feeling respected or not feeling judged and criticized or perceiving this conversation not from a space of my woman always is giving me lenses and glimpses into truth and to like cheat codes into like how to lead this relationship, this my space, myself, her more powerfully, then if you take that and you filter it through the wounds of you're not enough, she doesn't, you know, see you the way you want to be seen through egos, through shadows. Like if you portray that conversation and every time she comes to you from that energy, she will stop coming to you with the truth. She will shut down, she will become disempowered, or she will start building resentment. She will start not trusting you even more because she can't even come to you and express herself.
Yes.
And
And
if
I
she
think
can't
like
come to
we've
you and
been
express
talking, I mean,
herself,
yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this so much the last 2 or 3 months with clients, between ourselves, with prospects and everything else. It's like the thing that breaks down a relationship faster than anything is the inability for each person to come to each other in truth and it be okay. And without it meaning you got to fly off the handle or you taking it on to I'm this and I'm that. It's he sees something. He sees something. I need to pay attention to what they're seeing instead of I need to make them feel shitty for looking.
yeah, and we talked about this a lot on the last episode. So if you didn't catch that episode, we highly recommend, you know, diving into that. And if this is something that you deeply, deeply feel as a pain point or struggle in your own self and in your relationship, our mini course, Conflict to Consciously Connected, you can find that. We'll put that in the call link or in the
Yeah.
show
Show
links.
notes. Yeah.
Um, you can get that, you know, it's a self-led course, but that will radically shift this specific pattern in your relationship.
Yes.
But I think for this particular topic and like what we're really trying to hone in here with this point on this is like when you are in truly your empowered masculine energy and you are truly in your empowered feminine energy, there is a space where the feminine provides the absolute truth. And if you can, as a masculine man, own that from king energy and know that space and you open yourself to that, then she can be a huge source of power that fuels the power couple dynamics of your relationship
Mhm.
because that is her and her power. Like
Yeah.
truth from the feminine is her and her power. And if her truth gets squandered, or if her truth is not respected, or if her truth isn't asked for, if her truth isn't something that you feel too manly to get because you are supposed to be the end all be all leader of all the things and the one who's right of all the things and the ego that leads all the things, then you are missing a huge opportunity to connect, to have her heart be open, to have power couple dynamics.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like, and you mentioned it a little while ago, like, it's literally a cheat code for one another. Like,
Mhm.
using the power is, and I say using very loosely here, but uh, accepting and acknowledging the power of each other, of us being in our full-fledged masculine and feminine, like, confidence and self-leadership. Like, it gives a cheat code to each other. It gives, like, freedom to each other. Like, for me, having big ideas and being a big visionary is very freeing because I know I have Jocelyn in my corner saying, "Hey, make sure you don't forget about this piece and this piece." And I'm like, "Okay, that adds to my picture then, and it makes the picture way more complete." Because sometimes we look at our picture very different. And then like a man, like when a woman is there to provide to you that level of truth or that level of trust, it's your ability and it's your power within you that holds that with safety and holds that with strength and power and holds that with leadership so that you don't squelch it, you elevate it. Because at the end of the day, like as far as our relationship is going, as years go by, the level of truth gets way more clear and way more accurate. And the power of the truth combined with the forward vision moves us faster and faster down the road.
Yeah, and I think on both accounts, ultimately, when we're operating from the wounded places of this, it still manifests,
Oh yeah.
but it manifests obviously very differently energetically. And most of the time, those shadows that are having it manifest energetically differently than true power is
Yeah.
ultimately coming from shame, unworthiness, and protection of the parts of ourselves that, we don't necessarily love looking at. So, like, if something comes in and it feels like criticism, your immediate response is to protect that part of yourself that maybe feels shame or not good enough is around that part. If it's a something comes in and it's like there's a response that we could easily point the finger to the other person of who they're being and what they're doing and how they're doing it, that is the reason why I'm not being or doing something.
Hmm.
You are no longer in your power. You are disempowered because you always say this, and I know we said this on a previous episode, like follows the blame finger. But
Yeah.
it's like this pattern manifests in a wounded space or an empowered space. In the wounded space, it manifests as judgment, criticism, you're not doing this right, bringing forth truth from a place of like pressure, from a place of like, you need to do better, from a place of, I don't trust you, from a place of, I can't be something because of who you're being versus I'm bringing truth in my wholeness, in my light. I'm bringing truth in love. I'm bringing truth in I'm not a wounded match to your not good enoughness. So therefore, I'm moving from this pattern from an energy of I love you. I believe in you. You're a powerful man. I'm going to empower you into your king energy because I have truth for you. Or I'm going to have you see this little thing that you're operating in and moving from that you can't see or that is not you in your power. Like there's been so many times where I would point something out in the past, it would be pointing it out from this wounded lens of, I don't trust you, judgment, criticism. You need to be different so I feel safe. So
Yeah.
it's like this energy of like, you need to do this. Now it's like, hey, babe, I can see you're moving like this and I can see that this is like a pattern that's running, and because I now am in my own lighthouse energy, and now because I'm in my own power, I'm not attached to you not being something or me revealing a truth about you to where then it's like, I'm not safe. Let me put all the protection. Let me go into this space. Let me judge and criticize you. Let me put you down because I need you to be something so I'm okay. And you're not being that. So now I'm going to make you feel the heat of it because I need you to feel the heat of it so you'll change. And if you change, then I'll feel okay. It's more so like now it's like, hey, babe, this feels like a limiting belief. Hey, babe, you're operating from this place and you're so much more powerful than this. Or, hey, I see you not being integral with your word, and I know that you're an integral man. And so it's not like it's a truth of could be perceived as criticism, yet now because you're in your power and because we've come into this place of power with each other, you're like, you're right. I didn't even see that. Or, oh my God, I'll think about that. Or you'll tell me, I'm going to think about that. Or I'm going to look at this and maybe we can have a conversation about it. But thank you for bringing this forward to me. Instead
Mhm.
of getting triggered into this energy of like, "Rah," like this not good enough, this
Yeah.
response, this like going into what you would call little boy energy and wounded energy, it's more so like, okay, I'm gonna look at that, not even taking full ownership of it in moments if it doesn't immediately like land to your own consciousness and awakening. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna actually think about that, bring inquisitiveness to what you're bringing to me, and actually go like process it and gain self awareness. And maybe it's what you're bringing to me, or maybe it's something completely different that I haven't seen.
Mhm.
But sometimes you'll go away and you'll go and process it, and then you'll come back and be like, "I can see why it appeared this way to you, but here's what's actually going on." And then
Mhm.
that leadership, that self-awareness, that ability to not get triggered by what I'm bringing to you, to actually go lead yourself and then come to me with truth and come to me with whatever it is. And sometimes it is truth. And sometimes you'll say, "You're absolutely right. And I was
Yeah.
doing this," you know? But that ability for you to do that is you in your masculine power. Even though I'm pointing out something to you that makes it feel like I'm quote unquote more powerful than you in a moment
Mhm.
if you were in your wounded energy, it's like instead, it's like this is power. And then I get to process and then I get to lead myself either through the lens of what you just said, and you're right, without needing my ego to be involved, or from the lens of, I can see why she's saying this. I can
Mhm.
see why it appears this way. But then having the moment of self awareness where it's like, no, this is actually it. And
Yeah.
then leading and moving from that energetically, then I trust you. Then I know I can come to you. Then I know I've just been seen and heard. Then I know I've been understood. And that's
Mhm.
at the core what the feminine truly needs and wants.
Absolutely. Like, and everything you're saying is so in correlation with high level polarity and relational dynamics. And, there's this old Stoic quote that said, um, it is the mark of a wise man that's able to entertain the opinions of other people without making them his. And then there's also this part in a lot of like David Dita, and David Dita's you know, polarity guru, for
Mm-hmm.
lack of better
Yeah.
words. And he always says, it's like, it is your job to hear the truth of your woman, but not always accept it as the truth.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you hear it? And then what do you do with it? Then you got to determine, does this truth align with you? Does this truth point out ways you're not showing up? Or is this truth like, hey, I looked at this and that's not really it? This is what's really going on. And it's like so important, but it's all in how you have grown into your own self in it. Like, it's easy to say, like, if they just say it with love, it sounds good. It's gotta be the energy of they're okay and they don't need me to change so they're okay. Like, I'm not in control of their okayness, but they want to add this to the dynamic of the relationship because it makes the relationship more full. Like, hey, you're acting out of integrity. And I know you're an integral man, just wanted to point it out and see what's going on in your head with it. And that allows you as a man then to go into, I need to pay attention. Like, I'm saying things, but not doing things. And it's being seen, obviously. It's being felt, obviously. And is this what I truly meant to do? Or did it slip my mind? Or was I doing something else? And then, and it's instead of taking it as, fuck that, I'm integral as shit. I always do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and
Mm-hmm.
this, and this, and this. And we start over explaining scoreboard and shit. It's like, in that moment, that truth is to me for a reason. I need to look at that truth to determine if that truth is aligned with me, if that truth is unaligned with me, or I'm out of alignment with the truth in general, and I need to get back in alignment with it. And it takes work, but it takes work on both sides. This is not the only the man's job. And we get this a lot. Like, I need my man to be this so then I can be this. You need to become the woman who is okay, that can help his man be okay. Like, help the man. Like, I'm okay. I'm just bringing something to you because for your okayness, you're out of alignment with that. And then the same goes to the man. When I bring truth to you, I'm not bringing truth to shame and blame you. I'm bringing truth to like your okayness right now. How you're acting is not in alignment with what you say is okay for you. So I want to bring that to you. Like, whether it be like the way you talk about yourself or the way you think about this thing or way that, if I say like, hey, that's not the way you, that's not who you are. And you're like,
Yeah. Well, and it's
oops.
all about how ultimately from that side in the mirror of that, we do say it's a two-way street so powerfully because it is. Because I've worked with a lot of women who are like, I just bring something to him and I'll express it and I'm just sharing my feelings. And then he goes and he responds this way and it's not okay. Like da 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 da. And then when we get really, really real, and she gets really, really real with
I
herself.
mean, real. Like,
Yeah. Like, okay, yeah, you think you said it a certain way. You think that you presented it this way. But when we get really real, it's like before you brought this, what were you saying in your brain about him, about the situation, about what your experience was before you even came to the conversation? And nine times out of 10, it is judgment, it's criticism, it's he's this and that and this and that. And and then, oh, let me come to the conversation and be like, so I need to express my feelings about you being this and you doing this and it's like, okay, no, like you obviously you did have an energy that is actually a mirror to your own stuff to a degree.
mhm.
There's also this space where we can, as women, come into these situations and be like, okay, I want to talk to you about this situation and how you made me feel. And it's like all about, are we really putting something on somebody, like your feelings or your
Mhm.
experience or your perspective or the way that you took something? Are you putting it on them in your language as an attack of criticism of them or versus, hey, I want to talk to you about something that this made me feel and the experience that I got out of this and coming at it from like lighthouse whole energy, conscious woman, conscious queen energy, where it's not this space of like, hey, this pissed me off and you did this and you made me feel this way and you did a you versus, hey, I want to talk about something that happened this weekend or this happened tonight that made me
Mhm.
feel this way. And there's a big difference in that response and how you communicate things. Are you actually blaming somebody for whatever it is that you experienced? Are you being inquisitive? Because there is always two perspectives. Like you can always have two perspectives of a situation, of a night, how it's perceived, why someone did what they did, why they move the way they move. And if you don't understand the other person's brain and the processing and the stories and the logic that they use to do something or why they moved a certain way, you don't know. And you're only experiencing it through your lens of what you can know. And so
Yes.
oftentimes we get in these wounded mirror match things that are going on when in reality we if we just got a little more inquisitive, if we just expressed ourselves in a little bit different energy, then we would actually get to the truth. So there's so many times I could come to you and say, "Hey, tonight you did this and this is what happened and this experience and this is the feeling I had." And then you're able to sit there and say, "Oh, well, I did that because I was thinking this, or I was moving this way, or this is the thought process that I had. It had nothing to do to meant to be against you or to put you in that position. And I'm sorry you felt that way, but here is why I like did this." And then you can literally see
Mhm.
your person rather than it being like, you did this to me.
Mhm. And it's
When we're
important right there where you, that
yeah.
part right there is like, if you bring something to your partner and they say, "Hey, I can see that. Totally understand why you would feel that way, but here's how I was moving." There is, if I'm going to acknowledge in you, you were right. If you tell me I am wrong in the way I was thinking and believing, we don't have a relationship. We have a
Right.
dictatorship. And like in this scenario you just mentioned, it's like because we've gotten to a place where in ourselves where I'm able to listen to you and then I'm able to give my perspective to you, you're able to listen to me, and you don't say, "You're wrong. Men should do this. You should do that." And we just should all over each other all the time. And so now it's more of, and I think this is super important for a good relationship is to understand like just because you're the woman and you bring a complaint toward the man, it doesn't make him wrong.
Right.
It makes you right in your belief. And then whatever he brings on the back end of that, that's what he's thinking and believing. And it's like, how do we see each other in that and then come to a mutual understanding together? And that's
Right.
where the power comes. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's ultimately like even like what we were talking about previously, where it's like, I brought something and you're like, okay, I'm gonna process that or I'm gonna think about it. One, it's like, okay, my need is then met of feeling seen and heard. Because it could be my perspective, it could be my story. And a lot of women will say this. They will say, I was just bringing forth something I felt or something I saw, and like him crumbling or him reacting is like not the reaction I desired. But what is really respectful for a feminine is to one, just be seen and heard in it, even if it's not the truth for you, even if like the queen energy is like, I'm bringing this forward, but then the king energy and where polarity comes in and where like the actual trust comes in is like, okay, I see and hear your perspective. I'm looking at it, I value it. And then going and leading yourself, not just doing what your woman wants, because if you don't, then they're going to be some kind of way, or not just doing what she says because, oh, I'm going to be a nice guy and a people pleaser, or I'm going to be the energy of, okay, happy wife, happy life. Like,
Yeah.
if you're doing that, you've just broken all trust with her. And she
Yes.
knows it. And she knows it. And so then it's like, okay, now, and if this is a wound match, then the woman then is going to feel powerful because she's going to feel in her masculine energy. She's going to feel powerful. She's going to feel like, okay, I'm right. My ego's right. And I'm safe because he's going to do whatever I say to do, and he's weak. And I tell you, the polarity in
Mm,
that breaks like freaking powerfully breaks.
like it crumbles. It's not even a break. It's like a complete
Well, because
disassociation
you
from
go into your
connection.
wounded feminine energy
Yeah.
ultimately in that moment, and it's like, okay, now I'm in power. And
Yeah.
like from a wounded place of a wounded masculine feminine woman, that feels like you're in your power. It feels safe. It feels like, okay, anything I bring forward and say and do, if he just does it and doesn't fight back on it, you don't respect him, but you ultimately get quote unquote what you want, essentially. But where the real power comes in and where a truly awakened, feminine, conscious woman like truly trusts the masculine, if he sees and hears her, takes what she's saying into consideration,
Yeah.
goes and explores it for himself, for through his own trust in himself, through his own viewpoints of things, through his own feelings and confidence, and then says, either you're right, I'm going to move this way. I'm going to implement this because of what you said. I'm going to change this. I'm going to do better at this, whatever it may be. Or he says, I disagree with what you said. I heard you, but here's the truth for me. Here's what is actually going on within me. And then you lead in that confidence and that power and you got it. Then
Hmm.
we're like, okay, I'll follow that man anywhere
Mhm, and
because
I wanna put a reference around wounded masculine because I know we got new people listening all the time, like,
yeah,
wounded masculine energy is, like, someone who is emotionally unavailable, almost they put up walls around them to keep you as at distance as far as they can, and they take on, like, this perception that they're the only thing that can control safety within their life, and so they try to keep everything away from them that feels, quote, unquote, "unsafe." And they're a lot of times easily triggered with because things aren't going their way and it's not safe. They trigger up. And I think another one is like they need to be right. Like, there's no room for another truth. There's only theirs and the opposite. And on the other hand, like, wounded feminines afraid of rejection. They're always self-inflicting negative self-talk. They don't trust themselves at all.
People
Um,
pleasing,
they people
overgiving.
please. Yeah, they do all those things, and so, I like to give that reference because we keep saying wounded, 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 and some people are like, "What the hell are they talking about? What is a
Yeah.
wounded?" But yeah, I think it's
Hey,
important.
if you want to dive into wounded feminine and wounded masculine energy, obviously, like there's tons of episodes, in
Yes.
the earlier episodes specifically, and then obviously this is the core work of what we do in our spaces, and I think this is a
Yes.
great place to wrap this one,
Okay.
because we could talk about this forever.
Yes, I was
Um,
like, I'd already come out with about 20 minutes more of me just rambling over here.
yeah, and maybe we expand on another episode, but I think, with this one, this feels like a good place to stop because ultimately when you when you can see yourself in your wounded masculine or your wounded feminine energy, you can probably see the reciprocal in your partner because
Yes.
you are in a match. And we oftentimes want to blame the other person, talk about what they're doing or not being, create the stories around who they are that is on some level less than or causing problems or whatever that we can take from it that they are the problem or they're creating it. And this can be in relationships, friendships, partner like workships, clientships, you
Yeah.
know, there's multiple places this works, but if you are in it and you are experiencing it and you are a person on the other end of it that is moving from a place of not in your power and not from a place of you operating from wholeness within yourself, without you being grounded in your essence, without you being whole in how you are operating, you are a match for it. And we can put it outside of ourselves all the time, but there are shadows running that you're not seeing as to why you're a match for it.
Yes.
And so this space and what we do and the work that we do is individual identity and then relational dynamics and then business prosperity and growth because you are the center of all of it, and
Yes.
your identity and your shadows that are running and the ways that things are moving in your life and what you're experiencing externally is always a reflection of what's going on internally. And the moment that you can gain the truth in those things and you can move into that energy, you become power. And therefore, you are only a match for power. And you can
Yes.
rise together to be a power couple from our
Absolutely.
lens.
Absolutely. And I think that's that, and I'm just going to leave on that last statement. It's great power comes from great leadership. Great leaders are built by not waiting for other people to go before them. They go as themselves first and they attract that back to them.
Yeah, they don't stand in a corner telling what everybody else is doing as to why they're not a leader.
Exactly.
They are leaders naturally because of who they are being. There's a big difference between being a manager, there's a big difference between being a jester, there's a big difference between being the person who's, pointing to everybody else as to why they won't follow or why they're
Yes.
not leading. Leading is not something that you force on other people to be. You just are.
That's it.
And that's what we believe creates true power couple dynamics. And this
Absolutely.
is the work that we do in our Conscious Queens and Conscious King spaces. So if it's something that you're ready to dive into, we have private coaching spaces available as one on one. We have 2-on-2 coaching private spaces available. And we have some really juicy things coming up. Check out the notes for links. Come follow us on the socials, and we'll see you on the next one.
I guess.